Hello everybody and welcome to the AppleBruit podcast number 5. Lots of news on the iPhone, the iMacs, and the Mac Pros. Of course, the MacBook Pros as well. I'm going to talk about that. Lots of stuff to talk about. Let's get started with a rendering of the iPhone 5 from Apple Insider. And these renderings actually look realistic. I mean, wow, they look beautiful. And they come from, the source is iPhone and a bunch of these Chinese characters. I have no idea how to pronounce it, but according to Google Translate, it's Zhenwen Wang. And these renderings were based off of previous rumors, and you know the video of this, well, I forgot what company it was, but they showed off a video of the iPhone 5's new casing. Next is the iPhone 5 casing images found, the final design images, and it was found by this website called Mobile Fun, and as you can see, it actually, you know, it actually looks exactly the same as all the other iPhone rumors. There is absolutely nothing new with these images. And you know what? I got a feeling that these guys created this image and just showed it off so that they get traffic. And keep in mind, I actually found this doing research. They posted what they thought the iPhone 5 would look like a year ago, and it looks like it's got this bezeled rounded curve in the back, and it's supposed to have, you know, a different form factor, and it's supposed to have what is it, edge to edge screen, 4-inch screen as well. You know what, that's cool that they've all pretty much said 4-inch screen since 2 years ago. And I think this image doesn't really prove anything. And apparently it's from case manufacturers, and they do confirm, and these case manufacturers believe in these images so much that what they're going to do is they're going to start making cases for them right now. And they even said, we're going to start making these cases right now, and if the iPhone 5 doesn't fit in this case, we will give you a refund. Okay. And apparently the latest 4G LTE is going to be in the iPhone 5, and it's going to have the iOS, and it's going to launch in October. I have no idea how you find out those 3 facts from looking at the images, but that's what they say. Next, BGR says, oh, this is the headline, iPhone 5 may have low demands because of high iPhone 4 sales. And this is from a BTIG analyst, Walter Piecyk. I'd like to say, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Walter Piecyk. And I disagree. I completely disagree. I think if the iPhone 5 does come out, and even if you're in contract, I bet you're going to switch that just because people love having the brand new form factor of an iPhone, right? It's this whole bragging rights, which I find annoying, actually, because I pick my iPhones based on its utility, not based on what its looks are. Next, Apple Insider says preferred communication mode in future iPhone. What does this mean? This was found in a patent, and what they mean is if your iPhone has, let's just say, 2 bars or less, what's gonna happen is whenever somebody tries to call you, they're gonna say, oh, this person has 2 bars or less. Do you want to text them instead? And then that person calling will just, okay, I'll text them instead. So it's a smarter way to communicate with people. And similarly, I think if let's just say they're in Wi-Fi, maybe FaceTime them, and maybe it'll say, hey, FaceTime them instead because they're in Wi-Fi over here, and you know their Wi-Fi is good. Whatever. Next, Apple Insider once again that says from another patent, I believe, swappable lenses for the new iPhone. I do not give this any credence whatsoever. I do, but I'm giving you guys the news. And it's from a patent filing from Apple that says they are going to let you get rid of that backing on the iPhone. They're going to let you take that out, open up the camera, get rid of the UV filters, or maybe even replace the camera with a macro lens, right? And I thought, you know what, could you imagine replacing this with like a zoom lens, this piece of lens sticking out of the iPhone? Apple will not do that. Maybe they'll do the lens thing, but I highly doubt that this is possible. I do think that they apply for these patents so that no one else can, or so that they have a, you know, patent nuclear weapons that they have against Google and all the other manufacturers. And my phone is ringing. Pause. Resume. Wow, that was a long conversation. Next, iPhone 5 is to have 19-pin connector. This is according to TechCrunch, and all the images and all the drawings out there have pretty much hinted that the new iPhone is not going to have the same 30-pin connector that we've been used to and buying accessories for this whole time. So there's a big possibility that there's going to be a 19-pin mini connector, and apparently there are 3 manufacturers that have confirmed this to TechCrunch, and I don't like it when TechCrunch says, confirmed, new iPhone will have 19-pin mini connector. Confirmed by whom? Apple? I mean, when Apple says, yep, this is what we're going to have, that's when you can say confirmed. I mean, you can't really confirm it unless Apple says they're going to do it. Okay. Aside from that, they also mentioned that a Thunderbolt, maybe it's probably the same size as a Thunderbolt connector. Last time I looked at a Thunderbolt connector, it did not look like, a pill-shaped thing, but there might be other Thunderbolt connectors out there. And I do see it as a possibility that the new iPhone is going to have the ability to connect with a Thunderbolt connector, but Apple is moving away from connecting stuff to your iPhone, right? I mean, you can buy an iPhone right now, turn it on, and it's ready. You don't have to connect it to a computer, right? And you sync through Wi-Fi. So I don't understand what the big deal is about this new Thunderbolt connector. Why do you need a Thunderbolt connector? Anyway, yeah, current one is 32 pins. That's the one that we have right now. And you have to pretty much get new accessories. And my theory, this is my theory, is that what are the advantages of this new connector? I would say maybe for future iPods, because iPods are getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So it might make sense for them to just stick a connector in there. And I believe that the iPod Shuffle actually syncs through your 3.5mm jack, right? And I also, this is a little cynical of me, but I think that they're going to sell dongles to convert the current stuff to the new stuff, and they're going to make lots of money from that. No, that's way too cynical. That's way too crazy. Next up is from App Advice, who found that iTunes U, Audiobooks, and the podcast section of the music application disappeared from iOS 6. So what did they think might happen to these? Well, they could all be gone, as in Apple is not making any of those. Highly unlikely. They could be assimilated in other apps like iTunes U, iBooks, and Music, or that Apple is creating new apps for each, which I would totally cool to have a podcasting application. I'm looking forward to that, to having a podcast application, but it's going to have to be a really good podcast app to make me go away from Instacast and Downcast and all those other great podcast applications out there. Next, All Things D says that the native podcast app from Apple may come in iOS 6. Pretty much the same thing as before, but, more information. Whew. Now on to Mac Pro and iMac and MacBook, all those news. Apparently, according to Mac rumors, the Mac Pro and iMac will be updated in 2013. Now, this comes right after the announcement in WWDC. A lot of developers and people, they kind of went nuts. They were like, you know what, let's contact Apple. And a lot of them started contacting Apple and Apple sales reps. And they all responded pretty much saying that the Mac Pro is going to be updated in 2013. Even Tim Cook says, you know what, look for it, because we're gonna blow your socks off. Whatever he says. I'm paraphrasing there, obviously, but yeah. Next, Mac rumors again, maybe a day later, saying that Mac Pro will come in 2013, but iMac, they're not quite sure that that's going to come in 2013. It might come even sooner, and there's actually more news later on saying that the iMac might come sooner. And I'm a little disappointed that Apple is not keeping this whole Mac Pro debacle. Well, did I turn Bostonian? Sorry, I can't do accents. Apple is not keeping a very tight lip on this Mac Pro update. And I guess I have a feeling that they really do want to keep these developers and content creators and people that do need Mac Pros. I think they want to keep them happy and say, you know what, stick with us, stay with us. We are going to make something awesome in the future. Now, I was expecting Apple to just ditch their whole desktop line and just replace it with just MacBook Pros, but I don't think it's time for that. Maybe 5 years down the line, they're just going to go all notebooks, iPads, and iPhones. Yes, they make the iPhone as well. Next, I was going to say, I'm so used to saying Mac rumors and all these sites that Marco.org is a developer. It's the Instacast developer. He apparently has some connections with some people in Apple, and he does say that the iMac will come out this fall, but it will not have Retina display because Apple is having a tough time with putting a Retina display on that iMac. And I do understand that, pushing all those pixels and making them all move at once at a Retina display iMac at the 27-inch, way too tough right now. And he does suggest that why doesn't Apple just release in this fall an iMac with USB 3.0, maybe improved CPU, improved GPU, maybe improved memory. It's pretty much, a basic improvement plus the USB 3.0. Next, Mac Rumors. Mac Rumors says that the updated iMac will come, and they base this on Geekbench scores. And these Geekbench scores, came out on, 2 days after WWDC, and apparently Geekbench found this iMac 13,2 performance kind of Geekbench, whatever it is. Jeez, I shouldn't. You know what? I shouldn't disregard information and just say whatever it is. Geekbench is a software that you use to update. Not update. Geekbench is I'm falling apart here. Geekbench is a software that you use to see exactly how good, as in put a number rating to your computer. So give your computer a number rating. And whenever you do the test, Geekbench kind of pulls that data, brings it to their servers, and kind of holds onto it. And apparently, they saw this iMac 13-2. Apple doesn't make an iMac 13,2, so they say, you know what, it might come. And here's the thing: you can fake Geekbench scores. Keep that in mind. Also, if the new iMac were to come out with Retina display, I have this on my notes, so I kind of just remembered. If the new iMac were to come out with Retina display, you should also expect it to be anti-glare, because right now, the MacBook Pro 15 Retina with Retina display, long name, MacBook Pro 15 with Retina display has anti-glare in it, and it's not because of some brand new anti-glare technology. No, it's because they got rid of an extra sheet of glass in front of the LCD screen. So there really is a big reduction in glare, and if Apple were to do a Retina display iMac, expect the same thing. So less glare on the iMac. And I did own an iMac a long time ago, and that was an issue. So glare was a big issue. Next, Apple Insider says battery log suggests that a MacBook Pro 13 Retina is coming with a 6580 milliamp hour battery. I don't really. Oh yes, it's a battery log. I was gonna say, how do they know it's a 6580 milliamp hour battery? No, it's a battery log test. Software, kind of like Geekbench, but it tests your battery. And apparently this new computer has 4 charges so far, and it's labeled MacBook Pro 10,2. And again, it can be faked, and if I were this battery logging company, I would probably want to release some of this stuff so that they get traffic in them. And you know what, that traffic isn't really working because I have no idea who they are. I'm trying to find out who they are. Oh well. Next up, Apple Insider once again, MacBook Pro 13 Retina coming in October. And this is what they say. According to Ming-Chi Kuo of KGI Analyst. Now, I did talk about this guy a long time ago. I was impressed that he managed to predict that the 17-inch MacBook Pro is going to disappear, and he also managed to predict that we're going to have a MacBook Pro 15 super awesome Retina display MacBook Pro coming in WWDC. He also predicted that the 13-inch will come maybe this year, maybe WWDC, I don't remember which one, but he also did predict the 13-inch coming. And what blew me away was that Apple kept the old MacBook Pros and the new MacBook Pro. That, to me, I was like, wow, okay, this guy has something. Maybe this guy has some connections somewhere. I usually look down upon analysts because I'm like, analysts, I can make that up. Jeez. Next. Oh, actually, not next. We're still here. We're still in Apple Insider at MacBook Pro 13. This is what he says might be in that MacBook Pro 13. Production begins in September, and assembly is difficult. So they had a difficulty with assembly. That's why they couldn't release it in WWDC. It's going to have, and this blows my mind, a 2560 by 1600 Retina display. Really nice, resolution. And it's going to be 18 millimeters thin. And I think that's a little bit thinner than the MacBook Pro 15. I'm not quite sure. And it's going to have Ivy Bridge at a greater than 2 gigahertz. And you know what? Looking at this 13-inch, these specs for this rumored spec, I might be more likely to buy a 13-inch Pro than a 15. I don't know. Depends on the. You know what? I bought my 15 because of that resolution that it can have. I had bought the 1160 by 1150 by 16. You know what? Whatever. Next, Apple Insider says Foxconn will receive Apple TV LCD orders from Sharp. Man, this is long-winded. Foxconn has received orders. Foxconn, I'm falling apart. Cut. Let me recoup myself. Let me drink some water. Oh, I didn't choke on it that time. I was close though. Okay, Foxconn owns a part of Sharp. All right, I'm going to start from the very beginning. Foxconn owns 10% of Sharp. And apparently, Sharp has started ramping up on production on these new LCDs. And nobody knows what they're for, but they got a feeling that it's going to be for Apple's stuff, because Sharp is now exporting these LCDs and they're going to bring it to Foxconn. And then Foxconn, who makes lots of Apple devices, Foxconn is most likely going to make this Apple TV. And this production is probably going to start in Q3 of 2012. That's what this story is about. And apparently the LCD is going to have the IGZO or IGZO if you're American technology. And this is another one that blows my mind, is it's going to release before the end of 2012. So holiday 2012, they say that's when it's going to release. That would be insane. And that would stick to what Tim Cook said a long time ago when he said, you know what, this year we are going to surprise you. We are going to release a lot of cool stuff this year. And apparently this new Apple TV could make $10 billion a year for Apple. That's a lot of money. I mean, I wouldn't mind making, $10 billion a year. That's cool. I can buy a lot of things with $10 billion. That's a lot of popsicles. Cool pop. Okay. Okay, here's my analysis. Here's my my thoughts on this. It could be for another company, as in this LCD could be for any other company, because Foxconn doesn't just make stuff for Apple. Foxconn makes things for everybody. So this LCD might be for someone else. Also, Foxconn wants to help Sharp because Sharp is kind of dying right now, and Foxconn owns 10% of Sharp. So that's why they say, you know what, Sharp, make stuff. and we'll bring it in. And a lot of people are talking about Sharp. So now, Sharp's going to be like, oh, hey, we're cool. Maybe it's going to raise their stocks. That is my my cynical view on this. I'm wondering if I'm using the word cynical correctly. Next, BGR says, this was a long time ago. This actually released right after WWDC. Okay, so the Apple TV hardware did not show up in WWDC. The software wasn't demoed in WWDC. And the API that we were touting didn't release in WWDC. But the Apple TV will release with brand new motion gestures that you can control the television with, and it's gonna have a new touch remote. That's not an iPhone or an iPad. It's gonna be a brand new touch remote with a plastic bezel in it. And I think when I read this story, I was like, seriously? I mean, you're publishing this? I mean, and I guess I'm talking about it, so I'm no better than BGR. And yeah, no. I don't see that happening. First of all, if Apple were to do this motion, brand new motion gesture, I could agree with that. They could do brand new motion gesture, but why would they make a specific remote for the iPhone, for the Apple TV? Why not use your iPhone or an iPod Touch or something? And why make it out of plastic? That doesn't make sense. If Apple were to make a remote, it's going to be aluminum. I pretty much guarantee it. Even though I'm going to be analyst AppleBruit here. Apple will make an Apple TV, and this remote will be made out of aluminum. Not a solid chunk of aluminum, because that would suck, huh? Like, you got a brick of aluminum, and they're like, somehow change the channel with it. Anyway, next. BGR says, this is quick stuff here. BGR says that investors are not impressed with WWDC. And I wasn't really that impressed with WWDC, but I'm not an investor. Next. Tuwao says iOS 6 removes USB device configuration.plist. What this does is, here's the history of this. These plist files, they usually have a bunch of these brand new unreleased code, as in, code names for new products. They usually have a bunch of products in there. And recently, a few months ago, Apple started putting trash stuff in there. So fake names, and now they just completely decided to get rid of it. So this is another example of Tim Cook saying we're gonna put our foot down on secrecy around here. Next, MacRumor says vacation. Wait a minute. I gotta read this again. Vacation blackout on late July could mean the release of OS X, iMac, or Mac Mini. And you know what? This vacation blackout, this didn't happen to actual Apple employees. It happened to a third-party service that does like phone tech support or tech support in general to the Apple customers. So there's a general feeling that an OS X might come out at that day, because a lot of people are going to say, oh, what's wrong with my operating system, and something's happening and my keys are jiggling, and they're going to be like, did you turn it on and turn it off? Turn it on and turn it off? Keep in mind that why would Apple release the iMac and the Mac Mini, right? That doesn't make sense. Why all of a sudden? Why didn't they just announce it in WWDC? Well, keep in mind that when OS X Snow Leopard came out, a new version of MacBook Air came out, and a new version of Mac Mini came out. So maybe the same thing is going to happen with an iMac and a Mac Mini. That's just what they're saying. 9 to 5 Mac. Here is the actual quick round. I'm just gonna spit out the headlines and you guys catch them. So metaphorically speaking, I'm gonna spit it and you guys are gonna catch it. That's disgusting. Ping is to disappear next iTunes update. Liquid Metal license extended for 2 more years. Liquid Metal are the guys that do the pin connector for the iPhone. I don't think that's gonna happen anytime soon. I can't see us with a Liquid Metal iPhone coming. At least for the next 3 or 2 years. Foxconn buying Sharp shares, possibly to become Apple TV manufacturer. This was a long time ago. This was before that, long-winded story that I said. Clock app to come to iPad. Apple files for patent for more metadata on your photos, or more metadata on your actual data on your iPhone. So it's gonna have temperature, orientation, movement, etc. iPhone 5 will support iPhone. Hold on, let me restart that. iPhone 5 will support China Mobile's 3G network, so more customer base for Apple. Good, lots of revenue. MacBook Pro Retina 15 can do 1920 by 1200. That's not really big news, but when I heard that, this is what I wrote on my notes. Holy crap, because wow, that's insane. 1920 by 1200, that's my dream resolution. US emergency alerts to come in iOS 6, and it can be turned off. So whenever there's a tornado warning, or maybe a flood warning, or maybe chinchillas are loose out there and they're killing everyone in town, you're gonna have a warning in your iOS device. You can turn it off if you want. You know what? I don't suggest that you turn it off. Rendered white iPhone. This is kind of like before with the black iPhone, but this time it's white. And this rendering looks slick. Man, it's beautiful. And I can't believe that we're in the technology that we can make renderings like this. And it's pretty cool that they put fingerprints and scratches on it as well. Next, new iPhone resolution not difficult to adapt to. Apparently, according to the developers that Gene Munster of Piper Jaffray interviewed from WWDC. iPhone 5 to put Samsung Galaxy to shame. This is according to Hunhai Precision Industry Company from China. And wow, that's the last one. And you know what? The better Apple does, the better he does, because he makes stuff for Apple. So why, it makes sense for him to say Samsung Galaxy, iPhone 5, all this news. Well, anyway, wow. I just finished another podcast. And if you guys didn't notice, that motorcyclist didn't pass by, though my phone did ring. All right, guys. Thanks a lot for watching. I don't know how long this video went for. Thanks a lot for watching, and you can email me at AppleBruit, AppleBruit @gmail.com if you guys have any questions or any suggestions, anything you wanna see in this podcast, anything you guys want to hear, any suggestions. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and see you again next time. Bye-bye.